بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، له الحمد الحسن والثناء الجميل، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له يقول الحق ويهدي السبيل، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Al-Imam Al-Tirmidhi collected in his Sunan a hadith on the authority of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was asked by Suraqa ibn Malik. He asked him, Ya Rasulullah, you described al-Islam for us as if it is a brief blink of an eye. The life of a human being in this life is so brief. And you described it to us to where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have each and every one of us end up either in al-Jannah or hellfire. And it is already predestined, decreed, done with. And he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Ya Rasulullah, is that a fact? He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it is a fact. And he says, فَفِيمَ الْعَمَلُ إِذَنْ Ya Rasulullah? What's the point of doing the work? He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, instead, do the work. For each and every one of you is guided to that which he is created for. He said, no, any hadith after this one gave us more motivation to work towards towards al-akhirah and towards al-jannah. Now, this very concept of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decreed the people of al-Jannah. This is a different hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, collected by Imam Muslim and authority Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas describes when Allah ta'ala said in Surah Al-A'raf, وَإِذْ أَخَذَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَنِي آدَمَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَأَشْهَدَهُمْ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَى شَهِدْنَا أن تقولوا يوم القيامة إنا كنا عن هذا غافلين. Allah Ta'ala describes when Allah Ta'ala, Ibn Abbas, giving the tafsir of this ayah, said that Allah Ta'ala, when he created Adam alayhi salam, he wiped his back, and there comes forth one category of his offspring. And Allah Ta'ala says, this category are going to be in al-Jannah. وَبِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ يَعْمَلُونَ, and they will be doing the work of the people of al-Jannah. And then he wiped his back again. For the second time comes forth another category of the offspring of Adam alayhi salam. And Allah Ta'ala says, this category is the category of the dwellers of hellfire. وَبِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ النَّارِ يَعْمَلُونَ, and they will be doing the work of the people of hellfire. And the Sahaba are stunned. And the majority of us hearing this hadith for the first time are stunned. But this is a disclaimer that for you and I to have to understand as a backdrop for this very hadith. This is in the heart of the iman of what the hereafter has to offer for you and I. It's right in the heart of it. And that is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it one of the pillars of iman is to believe in the decree of Allah ta'ala, final decree of Allah. We should never, most of us, they have conflicted, confused ideas in the understanding of that divine decree. They equate what Allah Ta'ala had already predestined and had already decreed ahead of time, it equated with al-jabr, that Allah Ta'ala has already imposed whatever it is upon you. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Let me put it in perspective. in a classroom, especially kids in a classroom, they can relate to this fact. You have a teacher, you have a curriculum, and you have a classroom, you have attendance, you have tests, and you will either pass or fail. Very simple processes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Recognize, you agreed upon them the minute you signed up for whatever grade that is, college, whatever it is you signed up for. You come, you attend, you have a curriculum, you have a book, you do the work, you attend, you have questions, you understand the material, take the test, you pass or fail. Simple. We recognize that, we respect that, and we also respect the process of it. Here's the thing. If you were to walk to a teacher at the end of the year, you had already built some kind of relationship with each and every student in the class. If you were to walk to the teacher and say, so-and-so, point at any kid in the class, say, can you give me your assessment as to what level does that kid have? He could easily say, that's an A student, B student, C student, or failed student, F. Automatically. Now, how about if you're a parent, and then you walk to the school and you find that your kid failed that class. And then you will walk to the administration and ask, it's a normal thing. You want to find out, why did my kid fail? Well, the response is, based on the assessment of the teacher, your kid is an F student. And as a result, he failed. How about the other kids? They're A students, B students. It's based on what? Question is based on what? Is it because of the teacher's assessment? I care less about the teacher's assessment. What I want is something that proves that my kid is an F student or a B or an A student. So you would not bite. You would not buy that. Nobody's going to stand for it. And your kid will be the first one to say, you know what, I'm going to riot this. There's no way for me to take this from the teacher. He has to prove me right or wrong. I will have to take the test first. Sure enough, this is why they have assessment tests. So you do not come around and say, you know what, you were wrong about your assessment of me. And you put me in the category of a B student when I'm an A student. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala walillahi al-mathalul a'la does not give us a chance to say, this is imposed on me, to sin, not pray, not do this, and all of the no's, you fall right into them and say, Allah decreed for me to do this. Allah decreed for me to do this or the other. طيب? That equating the decree of Allah Ta'ala with Allah imposing the wrong thing for you to do, wrong by all definitions. In other words, go back and rectify that concept and that understanding. Rather, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala sent a Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. لما سئلت عائشة عن رسول الله عن خلق النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أحالت صاحبها على البحر تعال اشرب. When she was asked about the character of the Prophet ﷺ, she directed him to Al-Quran. She said, you wanted to see that a Quran walking on 2 feet? Look at Rasulullah ﷺ. When he speaks the truth. And when he speaks, he's clear. He would not give you any confusion as to what did he mean by that. He is as clear as crystal when he speaks. And his words are very understood, simple yet straight. The Prophet ﷺ, when you deal with him, you will love him. When you see him for the first time, you have to respect the man. This is the non-Muslims prior to embracing Islam. This happened with the Sahaba many times over. To where from before knowing who the Prophet ﷺ was, or knowing him on a personal level, لَمَّا تَرَاهُ, the minute you lay your eye on the man, you have a mixed feeling of respect and fear both at the same time. The minute you get to know who the Prophet ﷺ is, that fear is replaced with love, but the respect remains where it is. Love and respect instead of fear and respect. Why? Because he was implementing every aspect of Al-Quran, the guidance from Allah. In short, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave you or I in the dark as to what would lead you and I to Al-Jannah. Nor did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala limit your access to what takes you to Al-Jannah to either a place or a time. But rather He made your whole lifespan an access. It's an opportunity, a whole lifespan of yours. All of it to be devoted and dedicated to working for your akhirah. And Al-Jannah is the limit. Not the sky is the limit, Al-Jannah is the limit. Rid Allah is the limit. When Allah Ta'ala is pleased with you is the limit. Meaning it's up to you to do the work. Where can you do the work? How and where? This is all laid out for you. Khalaq Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now, and I'll leave you with this. I don't want to extend it to ما قل إن شاء الله تعالى ونفع يكون أفضل إن شاء الله. Short but sweet إن شاء الله تعالى is more important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you and I from 3 different elements. Walk with this. You have your physical part, and for that Allah devoted the pillars of Islam. Meaning, as-salah, as-shahada, those you have to literally physically implement them. If you want to say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, you have to physically, outwardly pronounce those words. Accompanied with that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you with also an inside, a soul. That soul of yours has what works for it. You have al-ihsan, excellence. And excellence is a level to be reached either from implementing the aspects of Islam. As-salah, you can take as-salah to excellence. Al-hajj, you can take it to excellence. As-zakat, to excellence. Every single aspect of that deen, you can take to excellence. Allah Ta'ala also gave you Iman. And that Iman has what serves it. You have 6 pillars of that Iman, to believe in Allah and the books and the 6 articles of faith. All of them, take them also to excellence. And then with all of those, you can implement them day and night. And I close with this. شرف الأعمال يكون بشرف الزمان والمكان وشرف المحنة. Remember these 3. If you wanted to have the concept in financial world, you wanted to invest in any business, you would always shoot for what? For a business that would have a higher level of return for your investment. If you wanted to invest in something that would give you $1,000, and you have another one that will give you 15, what would you want to settle for 1,000 when you can make 15? Instead of making 15, you want an investment that will probably give you a return of 30, 50, and you go down the list. So people are always looking in smart ways to have their returns higher than usual. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the exact same concept for you to take advantage of. Sharafu al-makan. Pray. You can pray anywhere. But if you pray in the house of Allah, the return on your prayer, that investment called as-salah, which is your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, would give you a return higher than if you were to pray it anywhere else. Sharaf al-makan. Keep that in mind. It's not just go to the masjid to pray because the rewards are tons. But the return on a prayer in of itself, in the masjid, there is no way to compare it with any other place, and it's up to you. It's up to you. Make that decision. You want it to be just an average person, or you want to be an excellent person? It's up to you. Allah Ta'ala gave you the chance. And speaking of that, let me open an asterisk. When it comes to Allah Ta'ala giving you your free will is given to you only in regards to the things that come out of you. You're conscious of that, making that decision of whatever it is you wanted to do. As-salah is given to you. And you make a decision whether you want to come to the masjid or pray at home. And you understand the ruling in all of it. But instead you settle for that or the other. It is up to you. And it is only after you know what to do that comes the action that you will be either rewarded for or not. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the time as well, sharaf al-makan, sharaf al-zaman, the third portion of the night, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that is it. The third portion of the night is the best time out of all of the 24 hours in regards your return on your acts of worship. They sit right there in the third portion of the night. In other words, it's up to you. Smore your way through that moment, or be a person who is seeking Allah ad-dar al-akhirah. You're seeking the high goals and high stations with Allah, and it's up to you again. The last, and this is where all of you and I, we have to commit. The consistency. The consistency is where we need to commit. Look around you. It's a widespread fitna everywhere you turn. Trials and tribulations right and left, wherever. Starting from your own household up until you exit the marketplace, in the streets, everywhere. Friends, to the point that you feel like you're the oddball. You must be out of your mind. Everybody's looking at you, you're too extreme. How am I extreme? Because you pray. You're extreme because you wanted to do the very basic. You think that your standards are way up there, and you have a long way to go before you hit even the low mark. Yeah, to so many, you are way too extreme. But consider the source, as they say. Consider the person who is talking to consider you being extreme. But the point, take advantage of time, take advantage of place, take advantage also of the whole tribulations and trials and calamities, hardship. This is literally the time where the Prophet ﷺ described as being time where a person who wants to hold on to the aspect of his religion is like a person who is holding on to a hot coal, burning, he's trying to throw it away. Sure enough, even by the closest of loved ones, they are pointing fingers at you. You should really compromise on this, compromise on that, compromise. And then at the end, you end up with a list of compromises. Then, what did you uphold? A list of compromises. But what did those compromises do for you? Nothing. This is why the Sahaba, Ikhwani, the Sahaba did not have room for compromises. Why? They understood where they're going. Wallahi, majority of us have no idea. And in a literal sense, had it not been for GPS, most of us don't know where they're going. Literally. Without the GPS to this day, without your phone, I bet you don't even know what your phone number is. Majority of us, I don't know what my phone number is because I never dial it. Majority ask me about my phone number only because I'm in the habit of giving my phone numbers. Everybody wants my phone number. But otherwise, ask me about my home phone. Wallahi, I don't know what it is. Because this is no longer at work. We don't have this working anymore. We're relying on everything else except on the point, Ikhwani. Do not lose sight of where you're headed. And then know what it takes to get to where you're headed. And enough of the compromises. This is another Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who will see that month and make us amongst those who will come out with their sins forgiven. with Allah, being pleased with us. But don't forget the fact that going to Ramadan should not find you the same person that was last Ramadan. Your akhlaq are the same, if not worse. Your relationship with the Quran is the same, if not worse. Your relationship with your family, this is all areas that you need to go and check those boxes one after the other. Box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and be the judge of it. لأنه بالآخر لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. Nobody's going to share your burden with you. And that's a fact. This is a wake-up call. You can flirt around the idea all you want, sugarcoat it all you want. Wallahi, the law enforcement, if we don't have a law enforcement out in the streets, none of the aspects of the law are going to be respected. None. Starting with the traffic law. Red light is going to be run. Everybody running in Morocco. I was driving my brother's car, came to a red light, huge traffic light, and they stopped. Everybody's honking the horn, and you're stupid, get out, move, you're blocking the traffic. I'm doing blocking the traffic. Why? There is no law enforcement. There is a law, but the law enforcement is non-existent. You know what works in this country is the fact that there is a law enforcement. There is a law, but without it being enforced, the body that makes sure that the law is enforced is what makes people respect the law. Guess what? And I'll leave you with this sweet thought. Keep it in your mind. Take it, put it under your pillow. Allah has a law enforcement that is invisible. كل أحكام الله تعالى في شرعه لها ضوابط. There are laws that are being. If you think that you can get away with fractions in regards to the law Allah Ta'ala said, thinking that you're going to skip the law enforcement of Allah, you're fooling nobody but yourself, because you turn around and you're paying the price. And the worst part, وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ يُحْسِنُونَ صُنْعًا. You're not even aware of it. That is the worst part. It's easy for somebody who's carrying a disease, but he's diagnosed, at least he can face it and he can take care of it. But what about somebody who's walking with the disease, not even being aware of it until he drops dead? Who's worse? Think about that. The law enforcement, although it is invisible, it is more powerful than the law enforcement that we see in our physical world in regards to the man-made law. We got more respect for the man-made law than the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of the do's and the do-nots. And ironically, the do's and the do-nots that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set for you and I are the ones that will get you and I safe through that highway that will take you and I to al-Jannah. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يعلمنا وإياكم من أمر ديننا ما جهلنا ويرزقنا وإياكم الأدب بما علمنا. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لكم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد والحمد لله رب العالمين.